Hi guys, you're welcome back to Bubbling 247. This is another episode, and thank you for watching us. Thank you for engaging us across our platform. So today I have another guest, and my guest is she's a former colleague, beautiful. So she's brilliant. She's amazing personality, and she's a senior marketing executive in the Middle East. We get to meet her. Hi, Mariam. It's good to meet you. It's been a long time. It's good to meet you again.
Yes, it's been a very long time, Tommy. Couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been living in Dubai actually since we left, Expo, me and you.
Yeah.
And since then, I just knew that I want to continue my career here in marketing. So if you remember, I just started to apply in roles, but in other industries. So I worked a bit in the automotive industry after Expo, and then after that, I started working in the educational sector, and it's been a blessing since then.
Yeah, I remember when you were with Next Gen Tires.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I still remember that. There was this campaign that you did then. Was it, I think it was Women's Day campaign that you had Kulud. Kulud was one of the models.
Yes, exactly. The women empowerment campaign.
Yeah, women campaign. I love the campaign. I watched the video and I really love the campaign. I have to be, honest. So, I mean, let me take you back a bit. I would love to, for the sake of our viewers, I know you. We've had conversation over time. But for the sake of our viewers and listeners, they would want to know a bit about you. What has been your journey so far to this, being a senior marketing in Dubai now. So, how did you get about marketing?
Okay, so the journey actually started back since I was in Cairo, Egypt. I studied marketing actually. That was my bachelor degree specification. So I studied mass communication and media, and I majored in public relation and advertising. Then I got a double degree in marketing and sales in the same time. I was a bit of a nerd, I would say so, starting like my school, then my bachelor. But honestly, I loved what I studied back in university. Marketing was a whole new world for me. And the more I got deeper into it, the more I got deeper into the theoretical and the fundamentals of it, I just knew it. I knew that I want to be in this field. I want to be in this field, and not just because of like how much we get as salaries or even what do we sell. I wanted to be there because I just felt a connection, and I felt if you really use the right techniques into our field, you can move nation and you can just move behaviors. You can inspire people to an extent that you can't even imagine. So I just kind of knew like marketing is just way more than selling products or like getting the numbers done. And I think that was the turning point, because since then, and when I was in university, I started early on my journey. I started to work when I was a student. I remember starting year one of uni. I was like, okay, you know what? I need to hit the job market to see what it is. And then I got multiple roles in different industry, like oil and gas. I remember a publishing house. I worked a bit with the American Chamber of Commerce back in Egypt in the public relations department. And while I was studying, I really was wanting to try out hands-on experience in the market, how it is, and to kind of try out what I like and what I don't like and where I do see myself. And I think that eased the whole way after graduation for me. So after graduation, I was not the type of a graduate that don't know what I want to try yet.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was clear for you.
Exactly. Starting early just gave me everything. It might maybe took a lot of like the normal student life of mine, but it's okay. I mean, you don't get everything, right? You have to let go of something to get something else.
True.
That what happened. And I think after graduation, I graduated the COVID time. And at that time, there was that experience in Dubai of being an Expo.
Yeah.
And because while I was studying, I was also a very big fan of the international market, generally speaking. And I was always admiring how can marketing be done in different countries, but like in a way, in different ways, and
Yeah.
localization of like, the content and the strategies and everything to fit with the audience behavior, right?
Yeah.
And I knew it. I just knew that my role shouldn't be in one country. I just want to experience the world.
Yeah.
And then when I found the opportunity to be, of course, in Expo, I just knew it. I knew that I would like to be in Dubai and I would want to
Wow.
start my journey there.
So well, that's actually interesting. I can see how passionate. I know that you're passionate about marketing. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. I've always known since since we met, and then we hit it up right from the first conversation. So that means that the Expo job was your first professional job.
I wouldn't say so. My first
Okay.
professional job started early when I was a student, before
Okay.
graduation.
Okay. So how did you get your first professional job, and how were you able to navigate that with your studies as a student?
So it was hard, I would say. So it was
Hmm.
hard because at some point it was the fact that I need to attend all my lectures and I need
Yeah.
to get those hours done and I need to focus in the fundamentals and the theory and the studying part. But it was just a matter of balancing out, like, after I get done with my lectures, I just run to get my jobs. And I think I was super lucky also to get employers that they do understand where I am in my journey as a
Yeah.
student. So they would like, fit me in somehow in within their calendars while I also work on my calendars. So yeah, I just found the right people at some point, of course. So that's how it got done. And that's how I learned time management big times, right? Like I think
Yeah.
early on, this is how I knew, like, when to sleep, when to study, when to go to work, when to focus on something new
Yeah.
and prioritizing.
Yeah, I actually agree with you because in marketing, there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, you're working on creative. You want to get the copies right. You want to develop marketing strategy, social media strategy, data ads is there. There's a lot of work to juggle, and it can be quite a lot of challenges. So in your, I mean, during these times, where were we all face our early challenges in our early careers. We face different challenges. For some, it might be blending in with the team. For some, it might be the environment. Some people go to work in a toxic, they started their career in a very toxic environment in which affects their self-esteem, affects their creative processes. So what were the challenges that you faced during your early days in marketing, most especially your first job and navigating that before we now come to Expo to have conversation around Expo?
Uh, Actually, challenges, I would say, like, if we're talking challenges in core of what we're doing, like,
Yeah.
the core marketing, because later on, I felt like I specialized in the industry. Before, it was more of like in the generic kind of way of doing things. Like, I tried a bit public relation, I tried a bit advertising, I tried a bit something from everything, right?
Yeah.
But as you said, I would say the challenges would be, of course, like a toxic environment, people that they don't give you space to create or, to speak what you're thinking about. Always rigidity, I would say so. When you find rigidity, and especially in our field, it's just, it keeps you in a box. And I think this is really the total opposite of what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And people that they are not able to see like the whole vision in a way. And I sometimes understand because not everyone comes from the marketing background, either the marketing industry, and especially like, like the leaders of wherever we work, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of takes time to sit and to work on a proper strategy in a way that those people do understand and understand the ROI of it. So I think it's just the way that you should be finding in order to convince who are you working with in order for you to be able to get done of what you can do.
Yeah. That takes me to conversation around commitment of brands commitment to marketing. There are times where you when you have conversation with brands, they want you to bring in that ROI in a larger quantity. Meanwhile, they don't want to invest some amount of reasonable amount of money into the hearts. They want everything. They want to generate a lot of revenue organically. So did you get to experience that with your clients?
Of course. Of course. Always, I think. And I think, again, when you don't come from a marketing background, it's very hard for you to understand that you will not be able to get everything without investing, right?
Yeah.
But I think a good marketer and a good person that understand our industry, like in within, they need to understand how to convince and educate those kind of leaders to get to know our industry and to get to know how to reach and how much should you invest. And that takes time, by the way. That takes planning.
It does.
A lot of communication. Exactly. And that takes a lot of you to know how to communicate your message and in which way you should convince them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes me like even a lot of months, like, 6 months to make them understand and see by their own eyes, like, the difference. Like, this is how we invest and what we get. And this is how, when we don't invest, what we get. Right. Yeah. And I think this is the only way you can convince someone. Right.
Yeah,
when you would be able to show them. Right.
True. I agree with you. Now let's have a conversation around Expo, the World Exhibition. How did that experience change your life? Or how did you get to Expo? Let's start from there. I know that we went through different processes, but what was the experience? What was the process like for you?
My process actually started with Isaac. I'm not sure if you remember them, but I think we were under different companies that they are outsourcing the people to come and work in DP World Pavilion and Expo back in that time. And my outsourced company was Isaac. And I think the process was very smooth. It was in a way also very unique because I felt like they try to get deeper in every single person, like, journey to know who to pick and who's a fit and who's not. Yeah. And I think that's what I appreciated about the process. Like, not anyone was just there for the sake of being there. It was a hard work. It was a lot of steps in order for us to get where we were.
Yeah. So on getting to Dubai, seeing that you'll be part of the global marketing team, to execute their global strategy at that historical event. What was it like? What blew your mind?
Honestly, Expo blew my mind. And I think all of us, we got blown, like, in a way, like in different ways, right? Seeing the kind of content. Oh my God, like, I remember when I was in Expo and the Expo environment in general, I'm not talking about only where we were working as DP World.
Yeah.
You felt you are in a place that inspires you. You're in a place that shows you what the future can look like and where can we be and where can we reach. And in a way, you felt limitless every single day. And I remember every day we would go to Expo, if you remember that time, we would be like, we want to visit all the pavilions and we would plan like where to go. And every single person of us would enter somewhere and we would have different views, right? When we see what we see, it moves us differently. And I think that was the beauty of the Expo, right? It just opened your mind to possibilities that you never thought about, right? In countries, in the way that industries does things, in the way that the content were created. It was just mind-blowing.
It was for me. It changed a lot of things in my head. It changed that there's nothing that I cannot achieve. It changed. It widens my horizon. It widens how I think. It tells me that possibilities abound, right? So everything I've been doing over time after that Expo has been, global standard. I want to do things that, I measure things with what we saw because it was crazy. It was just mind blowing. The level of the thoughtfulness that went into each exhibitions, the ideas that went into, in fact, this platform, the Bubbling 247 podcast, and which is growing into a media outfit now, actually was built during Expo. because I
Wow.
want. Yes, I'll tell you. I'll give you a back story. I was documenting all of those innovations and inventions at that time. You remember?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
wanted to be able to speak with those brains behind those innovations, but because we didn't have that time, there was no time, right? So that gave birth
Mm.
to this platform. That I wasn't opportuned because of the time constraints and everything. Activities were going on here and there at that time, so I didn't have that chance. I want to be able to bring a platform where I can be able to start having conversation with the brains behind world inventions, innovations, creators, creative guys, and everything. So that Expo actually gave birth to the platform that we have today. So yeah, uh, I've shared how it's been able to shape my journey so far. Coming to, I had to, after Expo, I went to study marketing, my master's, right? So which I've completed, and I've been able to work in different areas and ways. For you, how has that learnings from Expo, the exposure, how has that impacted the work that you do?
Okay, so actually, I'm so happy to hear how you thought about the expo, and I remember your process, and I remember what you used to do and document, and
Yeah,
I think everyone, in a way, as I was saying, like got inspired differently every time we
yeah,
were visiting the pavilions. And it's so funny because I had something relatable to what you were talking about right now. I remember also I used to enter the pavilion and
yeah,
in a way take notes about how every country used marketing strategies in the way that they created the
yeah. I
pavilions, right?
remember. I remember.
And
I do. I do.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And at that time, I remember I was so happy because I thought it would be a very good way for me to kind of talk about marketing insights
yeah,
on my LinkedIn platform to everyone and all the people that they didn't have an opportunity to attend that expo, right?
yeah,
And it was mind blowing because every single marketing strategy that has been used, it felt like it's like a lot, tons of things, right?
yeah,
And I remember I spoke about sensory marketing when I visited the
yeah,
German
yeah,
pavilion.
yeah, yeah,
It was brilliant, and I think that what sparked me. In a way, I knew that I want to continue in Dubai because I've seen it by my own eyes. I was in Dubai. I was in those pavilions. I've seen the strategies. I've seen the capacity and the capabilities of the people that did those things. So why not me also, right? So as much as I wanted to inspire other people, I myself got inspired. And at that time, I started to apply to other jobs in Dubai,
yeah,
and I knew it, like, I wanted to continue the career in this, and not just like, just like a broad umbrella of marketing. I wanted to be into, in a way, the storytelling
yeah,
that branches out from the
yeah,
marketing big umbrella, right?
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Right. So have you been able to approach your campaigns from that point of view?
Okay, so if I'm being honest, I think, let me start with you, like how the storytelling thing got shaped in within me. Okay, over time.
Yeah,
First of all, I'll take you to the fact that my favorite subject back in university, it was all about consumer behavior.
yeah,
I loved consumer behavior. Okay, like it was all about psychology, and I'm a very big fan of psychology. So when the time came, and I remember my professor kind of attached the psychology with the behavior of the audience,
yeah,
it was a very mind blowing for me. It opened all those feelings of like, oh, okay, so we're not just dealing with a human that see a good ad and then goes to buy the product. No, it's way more complex than this. It comes under emotions. So I love the consumer behavior, right? And
yeah,
then bit by bit, I got to know more about the emotional appeals and how brand has been using a lot of emotional appeals actually
yeah,
to like convince the audience in a way that clicks with them, that fits with their personality, right? That
yeah,
moves something in within them, and then to change a behavior and then to sell a product, right?
yeah,
So it was complex, it was deep, And I remembered at that time that my professor started to give a lot of case studies. And the more I hear about case studies, the more I look into the brands, the more I look into how even the international market does it, the more I get more and more into it, right?
Yeah.
Then I will leave that part later on growing and going to Expo. Expo, I think it was my hands-on experience. It was the actual visualization of what I learned, right? Because entering every single pavilion and looking into the stories behind the pavilion, that was it. That was for me the heartbeat, I would call it, right? So that's when I knew that in order for those pavilions to inspire every single person that they attended that expo, they definitely use storytelling. That was the main thing that happened in all pavilions.
Yes. Okay, if you look at it, the level of storytelling was out of the world. You know, each of those, how they curated the content, the approach. Each pavilion has the way of telling their stories, from their nations to their inventions to the people behind, and everything was. I mean, look at the Saudi pavilion. From the building itself, architectural masterpiece, to the infusions of their cultures, to how they tell you about their future, and looking at what you're doing now, what is happening in the country. They told those stories in that pavilion. So coming now, I want to bring you home to this particular topic, storytelling. I know this is one topic that you're so much passionate about. You know, storytelling is something that you're so much passionate about. So to you, what's storytelling to you? What's creative storytelling to you?
Well, creative storytelling for me, it's the heartbeat of a brand narrative. That's how I would just put it together very briefly, right? It is the tone, it is the identity in a way, it is the narrative of a brand that then comes into a lot of things, right? It comes into the face-to-face communication that your employees does it with, like, you know, the external world. It comes to the digital content. It comes to the immersive experiences that you create throughout the activations or the events that you put together. It comes into your printouts, your outdoor activation, your, like, every single thing between digital and offline. It's in a way the narrative that explains your mission and your vision, right? It's the essence of your brand. So this is how I see it.
So from when you want to, I want to actually learn about your own approach to storytelling. How did you move from ideation, you know, to then execution? Like, what's your creative process like?
Okay, so first of all, you need to lay the foundation in a way. Okay, so in my campaigns, before I start, I always need to learn very well about my brand, right? I need to go deep and not just ask the normal question about, like, you know, oh, this is our mission. And then my question would be, am I feeling it? Am I connecting with this, like, you know, those values or this mission and vision? If the answer is no, not yet, that means that I need to do more research about it. Okay. That means I need to ask more questions about it. So yeah, if the answer is no, I need to dig deeper. And by digging deeper, it's not just reading about it. It's about going to the leaders to understand their way of work, right? To understand where they want to reach, to understand how they see their brand. And then go to the consumer if you can, right? Get to know their feedback, get to know what's their pain points, right? Get to know, like, what's beyond what this brand is saying that it is, right? So my foundation to what I do and how I start is the research. And it's a very deep research, okay? Then later on, after that, you start putting your plan in a way. You have to kind of structure it. Because I always say an idea can be great. Everyone can create ideas, right? Everyone can say ideas. But if you don't know the how, that's going to be a mess of a work.
Yeah.
So you need to put your structure. You need to put your timelines very well. You need to understand where do you want to reach it and how you want to reach it and when do you want to reach it.
Yeah.
And you need to see also where are you heading. So you need to have like predictability about your numbers, right?
Yeah.
How you're going to move those numbers, and in a way, what is the impact, right? And is it number or is it in a way like brand equity? Like is it something tangible into numbers, or is it something that I can manage to see the impact of it later on by time, right? So where are we reaching? Then, so that's the structure. From there, I have to kind of follow my timeline into putting this idea together. That means communication skills, right? You need to connect with the right people in a way that would be a part or will be helping you on your project, right? So that can be the influencers you're going to speak to. That can be the I don't know, the outsourced companies that will just give you something that would push that project up, right? Or ongoing. So your communication skill is very, very important. And the way that you manage to explain your idea to those people. Because again, if the people on board, they don't understand what are you talking about, again, that's a mess of a story. You're not reaching anywhere. So you need to make sure that everyone on board understands what you're doing in a way, right? And then it's just, after that, you will see the whole idea coming all together. And I always say it's not that from the first time you see a perfect result of whatever you're creating.
I agree with you.
So I always go with a mindset of trial and error. I will do my best, right? I will follow this plan that I just told you right now. But at the end of the day, if it didn't come out perfect or reach the impact that I want to reach, that doesn't mean that it's a failure. It just means that it needs a tweak. It needs, in a way, another perspective to be seen. Maybe it didn't work well, but you also need to investigate about why it didn't work out, because that will help you to kind of, recreate it or manage to make it successful the next time.
True.
So that's the beauty of our industry. It's the trial, the error, the learning process while you're ongoing, the managing to change your whole views towards things, this flexibility of doing things. So and that's how you reach.
Well, for me, I like the discovery part of it. When you thought, okay, you've created a whole strategy and you implemented, and you thought, okay, this is the best strategy that one can implement. But they say, and after implementation or in the process of implementation, you started discovering some lapses, some areas that you think, oh, we can infuse it into. Maybe if you had input this, maybe the strategy would have been better. Maybe we would have achieved a better result. Now that brings me to my next question, which is about structure. You believe in structure, and of course, marketing. There is always there's a necessary call for structure, balance, and structure, right? But in the midst of creating, there's a lot of us who we have this spontaneity, where in the midst of creating something and putting structure to things, you get a whole high level inflow of ideas. How do you balance that? How do you navigate that bit?
Okay, so I think it's by experience. I learned to know, in a way, when to stop of just like thinking and then doing, right? It's this kind of, you said it, it's the balance of putting the structure, follow the structure, but it's not like it's a holy book. No, you need to understand that in the time of making, things can still change.
True.
Right?
True.
So you give yourself a bit of a space of like, okay, I can still create, but with a percentage. And you need to know what is your percentage at this point, right? And that comes by experience. And by doing a lot of projects, maybe in the same scope, right? So you learn that by time. But I always say again, Tommy, like I feel ideation and creation without a structure, it's a mess show. You need to know how to structure, but in the same time to give this flexibility of creating in the time of the making. That's all.
Yeah. Well, yes, actually, I like that. I like that you need to, we always need to put structure to things. Because where there's no structure, like you said, it's a mess show. Right. In when we want to create as creatives, right, as marketers, there's everyone we face it, which is creative block, right? You have these
Mm.
campaigns before you have consulted your swipe file, you have done a bit of research, you have an understanding of the target audience and then how you want to approach it. But there's this a block. You even though you've done necessary research, yeah, you've ticked the boxes of the your checklist, but there's a block where you don't just get it. You know that you need to do something, but you don't get it. How do you beat this creative block?
Oh my God, Tommy. I feel like, it's a very kind of similar process to everyone that does work with creation. It's like writers, right? It's like
Yeah,
people that they work in any kind of creative industry, right?
yeah,
And you're right. It's not like my brain is always sparked and inspired the whole time. Not at
yeah.
all. But I would say the way that I deal with this, believe it or not, is first of all, nature helps. Generally, at least with me, nature helps a lot. Walking outside, seeing colors, seeing something that does stimulate my brain, it's always a push for me.
Hmm.
That's the main, right?
Yeah.
The second is to get outside of my work scope a bit, right? Leave the desk, leave marketing, leave the fundamentals, leave the theories, leave everything, and go talk with people that they have nothing to do with the industry actually,
Yeah.
right? And I think that does spark a lot in within me. And by the way, by like when I say speaking to people, not at all about the project that you're working about.
Yeah.
Speak to them about their life.
Yeah.
Speak to them about their challenges. Speak to them about how their week has been going and ask why and get to know more, right?
Yeah.
If you really think about it, you would always see that such conversations, in a way, they interconnect and they link towards something in your brain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a door even that you didn't even see in
Yeah.
a way, right?
Yeah, true.
It can be a word. So for me, it's the speaking, the talking with people that outside our industry, the nature, in a way. And I would say looking into case studies. See, I love case studies.
True.
I remember since I was a student, I love case studies. And that's why just going on LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google, YouTube, you name it, anything really,
Yeah.
right? Type something out that you want to know more about, like how the brand did it back in that time.
Yeah.
And by the way, you will find me looking into things that in a way I would call it historic data. It's like previous
data.
studies.
Yeah.
It's not like, in a way, yes, exactly. It's not like a project that has been going on in 2025 or 2024. No, sometimes I look into ads from the 90s. Imagine. And I love it. I love like, okay, so how people actually did it at that time,
That
right?
time,
Like
yeah.
it can be something very small, but it can move you forward in within what you're doing now.
True.
And if you think about it, also, I always say creation, when you create something, you tend to think that you do it from scratch, but there is no such a thing.
Yeah.
It's always, in a way, a repetition of something, right?
Yeah,
A repetition of a feeling. It's like how they tell you history repeats itself, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Same to our industry.
Yeah.
You don't create from scratch, but you find a new perspective in what you create.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I think I like for me, what I do is, I think I found succor in comedy. I look at skits, comedy skits. I look at, I just enter TikTok. I swipe videos. I enter YouTube, watch some comedy skits. Then I go to Twitter. I read about things, and these are the ways that I've found, to ease my brain, to ease myself off the project that I have on the table. And sometimes, when I am swiping the videos on TikTok, I come across videos that speaks to that project, not that speak directly to it, but an inspiration that I could, adapt to make that project work better. So it's we all have a different way. For some, it's movies. once they are facing that block, they just leave everything they're doing. They
Mm.
for some, they just take a walk. Like you go to, I know you like the beach. That's what
Mm.
I
You
know,
remember
I
saying.
remember, yeah, I do. I know you like the beach. You just want to unwind and release
Yes.
yourself to nature and enjoy the
Yeah.
environment, the serenity, and all of that. I know that. So bringing home to conversation, let's talk about generative AI. AI is changing the game now. How we create, how we develop our strategy, even how we also create our journeys. To feel that human connection. AI is changing everything. I mean, now we
Mm.
talk where marketing is also getting a bit technical in terms of the digital aspect of it. We're talking about marketing automation now. Customize the human journey. Journey making such that we're talking about segmentation, personalization. So AI is changing every game in marketing. Now coming to how we create. First of all, what
Mm.
excites you about this development in the space?
Okay, so AI, I like it so much. I'm a very big fan of AI and how it's actually coming and integrating in our field, right? But I always say you need, as a marketer, to always remember AI is a tool. It's not replacing you by any means. You need to understand how to use it in your own favor, to leverage your edge in whatever you're doing, right? And it's brilliant. If you got to know to
Yeah.
do that, it really cuts through a whole timeline that you can be working on a project. I remember years ago we used to work on projects, right? It was even different, like it was a big team and the project still would get done in like, a month or two. But now with AI, you can cut through that. You can just jump into time. You can finish things in a week or two instead, right? Amazing. Amazing for data analysis. Amazing for doing a part of your research, right? And even sometimes copywriting or giving you ideas. But you need to remember that it will never give you this human touch. You need to remember that AI
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a robot, it's a code, it's a tool. It mimics, right? AI was never actually the origin. It mimics the human maybe behavior,
Yeah.
but it doesn't give you the humanization. It doesn't give you the essence. It doesn't give you the inspiration and the spark that will never replace the human,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I always say it's very dangerous and risky when a marketer starts to think that he would use the AI from point A to Z, from the ideation process to the execution.
Transcription.
If you start doing this, that's a big no-no, and you will feel it. By the way, by the end of the campaign, you will see how hollow the campaign feels because it does not have the story, it does not
Yeah.
have the depth, it does
Yeah.
not have the essence, right? So this is how I see it.
So how would you advise them to use it? For creators, for marketers, and for people in our space, how would you advise them to leverage AI to create, to tell stories, and to sell? I mean, what's your own
Okay.
strategy? Maybe pick it from this is your whole roadmap for them. So let's lay it out.
Okay, starting off, you don't start with using the AI. You start by yourself. Okay? So the idea comes from your own brain, from your own understanding, from your own, in a way, investigation and knowing the why behind your brand, right? The
Yeah.
why you get it by your own. And then even putting the idea together, you bring it on your own. Then when you start putting your structure, remember we spoke about the structure that it shapes the flow of how the execution would be. That's maybe when you start using the AI. Why? Because you start feeding the AI with your idea, with how you see it. And then you start ask AI, let's say, for example, I want more research about 1, 2, 3 points, right? And I want to know the data of, this part. And I want to see how can number work in my own favor from point A to point B, right? So that's how you push. It's like, in a way, it's your assistant. It's
Yeah.
not you. It's as if like you really work in a team and your AI is like, the team that would help you out in your project, right? And then after whatever AI gives you, you need to understand that this is not 100% right? Again, it's a tool, and you need to remember that the whole time. You need to start tweaking in this. You need to understand how to reshape things of whatever output it gives you. Okay, and that's what I do. Then again, you can go on another run with AI if you want to tweak it a bit again with AI. But then at the end of the day, even the outcome, I wouldn't say it comes 100% AI used at all. Okay, it's that kind of balance that starts with you and maybe help with AI, but again, it ends with you. It doesn't end with AI.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Wow. Thank you for that. I mean, that's a whole insight on its own. So I believe that this is how you've been leveraging AI too in the work that you do. Right.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? I remember because I also was listening to this one podcast one time, and because, you know, there are a lot of platforms of AI nowadays, right? So the creators of those platforms, they come and they speak about it. And I remember this one guy, he was sitting down and he had a question, and it was saying like, do you think that at some point AI would take our jobs from us, right? And the guy said something, it was brilliant. He said, look, AI will never replace people, but the person who uses AI will take your job, right? And that's the exact difference. That's exactly what I'm talking about right now. Because compare someone in marketing nowadays that they don't use AI, but another that uses AI and know the how. Of course, the one that uses AI is, you know, in a way, like way more into results orientation and faster in the process and everything, rather than someone that does not do it, right? So
I agree with you. There have been this conversation around how that AI is making creatives to be lazy. You know, what's your take on that?
Now, I don't. Again, if you tend to think that AI is doing the creative lazy or like getting that to be it, that means you're not using it right. Again, people. So I always tend to see people who say that or think that means that the process didn't start with them. They simply went to AI and said, okay, look, I'm working on this project. I want this idea, or like, give me ideas. And then from there, they take their own inspiration. And that's definitely not the correct way to use it, right? Eventually, it leaves you with hollow content, hollow ideas, not in a way deep campaigns or campaigns that, you know, changes behaviors or leave impact or give you brand equity. It will leave you with nothing. It's not a human being.
So in the, you know, in the spirit that we work in, we, for example, we want to develop, we have a campaign to execute, you know, and it needs models. You know, you get models, you need influencers, you get people to model. We do photo shoots, and we go through different processes just to ensure that we get enough creative, you know, to push out. But now with AI and different development, you don't. I mean, I've seen campaigns that have been done solely with prompts, right? You have the model with AI, you have even the clothing, the everything, then your brand infusion, your products showcasing, and everything with AI. Like, do you think that we would see the death of models and the infusion of human in the campaigns going forward?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again, Tom?
Okay.
Your voice got cut.
All right. So can you hear me clearly now? So the question is, you know, when we want to do campaigns, marketing, you know, you get models, they model the product, you do photo shoots, then you have them to creatives, maybe billboard, maybe whatever, however we want to communicate that, or whatever platform we want to communicate that. But now you have AI that you can use to do model, right? Then you can the model, the avatar, whatever, can model your product, right? Do you think that would impact the other process of marketing going forward?
No. Look, I think this topic, it has two sides. It has its positive and it has its negative. And again, it's always about the balance and when to use it, when to stop, and how to use it. Okay. For example, me, and I would speak out of experience here. Okay. I work in the educational industry at the moment, and I've been working on multiple campaigns that, for so many reasons, of course, because first of all, we work on a lot of production, a lot of campaigns. So timeline and time manner, we need to kind of be very aware of like how we do stuff quickly, but in the same time, in a premium look way. Okay.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I remember this one campaign. I had this great idea. It all came. So basically, we were trying to celebrate the World Education Day, and therefore, because I do work in a school, I wanted to create a video production about that. Okay, and from there, I thought, okay, I need to kind of use the emotional appeal. So let's play around with something a bit more humorous appeal. Okay. Yeah. Not something emotional, not something sad. It's just humor. And then I started to think about all the movies that I watched when I was young. And I remember there was this movie about John Kerry, and it's called Lemony Snicket's of Misadventures, if I remember right. It was about this family that of orphanage, and they just go on misunfortunate events, and they deal with a lot of troubles, you know. And my idea came of the way of the production of that movie. It's a very old movie, and it's all about narration. So there was always a narrator, okay, that really explain what happens to those kids. And then you will find Jim Carrey and the kids, they start acting out, right? So in my head, I was like, okay, I would want to create something that has a narrator.
Yeah.
But I would use the students and the teachers to kind of act out what the narrator is saying, okay? And then I started scripting. I scripted the whole dialogue. And at that time, I was missing on the voice of the narrator, how to do it, like from where to find it. Because in my brain, the narrator was everything in a way, right?
Yeah.
That voice, it has to be very differentiated. It has to connect with this kind of memory of that movie of Jim Carrey, that when the audience listens or see the video, they would connect, right? And if you think about it, that was a challenge. And if I would stop in front of it to kind of go and see, like, you know, voiceover narrators and go through them, check profiles, whatever it is, that would take a lot of time. And not just a lot of time, Tommy, it's a lot of money.
Money too, yeah. Oh,
right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So here exactly, that's when I was like, AI is needed. Okay. Now what to do? You just go on a platform that does those AI voices to explain exactly which voice that needs to come from which movie, whatever it is, gives you a sample in like 5 minutes. I spoke at that time, that was the production team, my team that was working on it. And I explained everything. And I explained, like, I don't mind AI. Let's just give it a try. But at the same time, we need to make sure that it does not sound robotic. It has to be humanized, right?
Yeah.
So I think the time that we spent, it was more to make that AI voice human. And that happened was like in the montage process with the production team and how they play around with the air and the spaces in between. But eventually it was a success. Okay.
Wow.
The video came out on time. People, they loved it. They connected with it. I feel like I'm always so proud of that project because it is a hands-on experience in when to use AI and how to use AI.
True.
Okay.
True.
So, the awareness, the reach that it did, even you would see like people connected with it from the parents of the students to the teachers.
Wow.
They felt a connection, and it was a whole hit talk for almost a couple of days around the school. You know, people are just remembering the message, remembering the humor, remembering the appeal. Now, eventually, when you look at it at a larger scale, where do we lead with this, or where do we go from there?
Yeah.
It's, of course, creating this brand narrative. It's creating this brand remembrance. It's creating this brand equity, right? It's leaving an impact that will always play in your brain, right? Maybe in the subconscious at some point, but then it will lead to a behavior by time, which is admitting your kids in this school, right? That's it.
Wow. I don't know the numbers that the campaign did, but with the impact that you've been able to highlight, I believe that you're so much proud about that project.
So proud.
Well, it's always good to see. No, it's always good to say that. So, now that AI has been developed, just this morning I read about the release of GPT-5. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I read about the release of GPT. That it gets better by the day. Different reasonings, different development, innovation, just to make it better and make it as fast as it can. Which now comes to even storytelling. We have different platforms. For example, you want to do music, you have Suno. You want to do, for example, this your voice. You have Simplify. You have the 11 Lab on different platforms that then they are a mid journey to create your different video journeys. You have VO3 to create videos, to tell more stories. Even though those video you can tell they are AI, right? Because they are not as human as they can be. But where I'm driving at is the fact that all of this is imparting storytelling in an unimaginable way. So, and because this development is becoming mainstream, right? It kind of brings some mixed feelings. So for you, what do you think the future would be? For storytelling. I mean, especially with AI becoming mainstream.
I honestly tend to think it's going to be limitless. Yeah, I'm very positive about it. Okay, I'm not looking into it in a negative way, and maybe that's coming from my own experience into like how I do things and how I create,
Yeah.
and looking also to my colleagues in other industries. That's like, how do you use it and how do you think about it?
Yeah.
So it just needs to be in a way in the right hands of marketers and how to use it, and then it can go right from there, right? Again, it's always about creating the balance, not like always remembering that you're the human, that's the tool. You're a human, you're using the tool. You're not just forgetting that this is replacing you, because when this would happen and happen a lot, that's what's going to lead to this like nonsense mainstream, like, content that you would see everywhere that doesn't have value, that doesn't have impact, that does not talk stories and depth at all, right?
Yeah.
But so far from what I'm seeing, I feel like people are open to it and they are trying their best in order to kind of like, create that balance between their brains and the tool. So far so good. And I'm positive about the future.
Oh, great. I'm also positive about the future because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to unpack. So, and sometimes ago, I read about this report about Dubai, paying, maybe for some years subscription for ChatGPT or so. So, how do you think this would impact industries in the country? In UAE?
In Dubai, you mean?
Yeah, in Dubai. Yeah, in Dubai.
So how would AI impact the industries in Dubai?
Yeah, that development about the I think the rulers pay some amount of money for the subscriptions of the use of AI for the UAE.
Oh,
right. So how do you think that would impact industries and the usage of AI in the whole of UAE or Dubai?
Honestly, I think the country is going on a very good track here. I mean, Tommy, like, even if we want it or not, in a way, AI is the future. It's coming in and coming in heavily. Now, working in the education industry, I can even see now, which something, by the way, I'm so proud of to see what the next generation is doing at the moment. They are having AI to be part of their own curriculums, right? Which is, I'm so proud of, because looking at that generation now, you're giving the right knowledge to those youngers, people, students, early on, from understanding the tool. Now, and I think this is what we're trying us as adults to do right now, to learn the tool. Now imagine this. Imagine that the next generation, and of course with all what the country is doing at the moment, is equipped enough to use AI like when they grow up, right?
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. This is puts like in me a whole kind of safety feeling that it's not going to be misused, because early on you're already understanding how it should be working and how we should depend on it and in what way and the balance and everything as such. So this is brilliant.
Yeah. Mayam, it's been a good time with you. it's
Same
it's
here.
like thank you for coming for this conversation. I've enjoyed every bit of it, and I believe that because our own conversation can never be exhausted. We will always have something to we will always have something to talk about, and we always catch up at every point in time. So, Miriam, thank you for obliging our request, and thank you for bringing your voice to the table, and thank you for sharing your insights with our community. Just before I leave you, before I let you go, I just want to have one last question, which is, based on your experience, you've learned over years in marketing in this space, and in the area that you also play in the region that you play in, it's a futuristic nation that you are in UAE. You've seen things that some people in different other emerging markets might not have seen, right? You know where the future is going, or you know where it is now, because Dubai, for example, is the future for some countries, right? It's the future for some countries, right? So what advice would you give to young marketers based on your learnings so far, based on what you've seen so far, based on your insight into the future? What advice would you give to young marketers?
I would always say, and I love this question, Tommy. Thank you for wrapping up this way, because I also have the students that they would graduate from school and they go study marketing in the school that I work in. I love it because sometimes I sit down with them and they would ask the same thing, right? But I would always say, stay curious.
Yeah.
That's the essence of marketing. You need to always stay curious and stay asking why all the time. Never stop getting to know more and getting to know the why, and getting inspired from every single thing around you, and try and don't worry about failing. Again, marketing, it's all about trial and
Yeah.
error and trial and error, and then making it right at the end of the day. So stay curious and don't be scared of failing, and try. Keep on trying.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Tommy.
yeah. That's it on this episode of Bubbling 247. Just before I let you go, guys, follow us across our platforms, engage with our content, and share across platforms. So thank you. At the next episode, keep bubbling.